Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of Reverse the Relapse. And today I have a guest for you, Margaret Hays, who is a bariatric dietitian, and together we are going to answer the question, how to lose the weight when it comes back on and it doesn't want to budge. You're in the right place if you're ready to stop the sabotage and weight regain post weight loss surgery. Hi, I'm Georgie Beams. I'm a psychologist who works in the area of emotional eating, sabotage, and weight regain for weight loss surgery patients. I have experience working in a weight loss surgery clinic, as well as supporting women online to reverse the relapse. I honestly believe that psychology should be a mandatory part of everyone's weight loss surgery journey. Your body has had an upgrade to version 2.0 after surgery, but your mind is most likely operating at version 1.0, which is your old pre-surgery mind. You're here to update your mind to match your body and get back on your weight loss path. And I'm here to help you. Hey, welcome everybody, and I'm joined here by Margaret Hays, who is a registered dietitian who is based in Perth, and she also works with weight loss surgery patients. And hello, Margaret, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Georgie. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, well, why don't you just share a little bit about what you do and who you work with?
Sure. I've been a dietitian for a long time, 35 years, in fact, and I've been specializing in bariatric nutrition for the last 10 years. And I really love working with bariatric clients because I get to see all the positive changes that happen to them after surgery, like, their clothes feel better, they're feeling more confident, their mental health's better, they're much happier, they can play with their kids or their grandkids, they can move around better with a lot less pain and just have better health overall. So I just really enjoy working in this space. And, I've developed an online program through my Instagram called Take Control of Your Weight Regain. So my Instagram is bariatricdietitian.margaret. So that's how I'm working these days.
Yeah, and I encourage you all to check out her Instagram as well, because she does fantastic reels where she goes into supermarkets and puts on blue crazy wigs and all sorts of things. So it's good that you got such a great sense of humor as well.
Oh, I just love having fun and trying to make this all a little lighter for people because it all gets a bit too serious at times.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of serious content, but I think we have to remember to still have a bit of fun.
Absolutely. So let's have some fun now.
Right.
So what I have done is I contacted Margaret and said, would you like to come on the podcast? Because I really feel like we both can offer something quite unique in this space with weight loss surgery patients. And I feel like it's not really out there as much as what it could be. And that is to ask our communities what questions that they have, and then Margaret will answer from a dietetic perspective for weight loss surgery patients, and I will answer the question from a psychological perspective for weight loss surgery patients. So that's where the idea came from, and I'm really excited to do this because I think, like anything, nothing is ever in isolation. So I think bringing these different perspectives together that really complement each other is key. So I hope you all find a lot of value from this format that we're trying out. So first of all, thank you everyone who submitted a question. There were so many amazing questions, and it was very difficult to pick one. So here is our first one today. And the question is, how do I lose the weight when it comes back on when it doesn't want to budge? Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do is, before we launch into our different perspectives, I just want to, just as a general disclaimer, the information on this podcast episode is just for educational purposes only. So it doesn't replace one-on-one medical advice, and really encourage you to consult with your medical team to really work out what's going to be right for you. So, Margaret, over to you first from a dietetic perspective. What's your take on how to lose the weight when it comes back on when it doesn't want to budge?
Well, that's so multifaceted, Georgie, but my main things I'd be looking at in this area are really working with clients and having a good insight into how regularly you're eating your meals and your snacks. Like, I see so many people skip breakfast, I see so many people don't take any lunch to work. Then they're hungry when they get home. They snack on everything they could find. They could almost eat the leg off the dining room table.
Mhm.
And then, often they feel sick and then they don't want to eat their evening meal. Or then they skip their evening meal and then they start snacking later in the evening. So
Oh,
I'd be
oh, I
really,
see. Sorry to interrupt. I see another one, which is they do exactly that. They snack and then they still have their dinner because some of the snacking is hidden as well.
yes, correct. So, and they're not feeling full ever because they're snacking on foods that aren't high in protein, that aren't high in fiber. So that's another issue that I would be looking at. And I'm trying to get people to work with their dietitian and work out their uh, grams of protein for their target for the day and their grams of fiber. So I'm working with people trying to get them to 80 grams of protein a day mostly and 25 grams of fiber a day. So when you're eating protein rich and fiber rich, regular meals, you will feel full throughout the day, and the snacking doesn't have to be such a significant part of your calorie intake.
Yeah.
And also, so many clients I see just forget to drink their water. They're drinking a lot of tea, a lot of coffee, or they're back on their soft drinks. So, aiming to get 2 liters of water in over the day, which can be a real challenge after surgery. So, really looking at, having good water bottles, having, nice glasses to drink from, making sure you've got access to your water through the day and spreading it out evenly through the day so you don't get to the end of the day and I've got to drink 1.5 liters of water now for the day. It's just not possible. So aiming for your adequate water intake is really important. And of course, checking out your portion sizes is a good idea. So, making sure that you've got bowls or plates that are small and don't allow you to overeat, because I find people eat to the portion that they've served out for themselves. So, if you've got a small portion and you know what your capacity is, it's much easier to stick to your portion that's going to be right for your stomach that you've got now. And I also find it's really helpful for people to keep a food, exercise, sleep, stress, and fluid diary. So I call that my food and lifestyle diary, because there's so many parts of our life that impact on the food that we're choosing. So, of course, I talk about food a lot. And I know, Georgie, you're really more looking at the stresses and people's psychological health. And I think sleep just overarches all those things as well. So, making sure clients are looking at their whole lifestyle, not just food and exercise alone. And also, I suppose another really important thing is making sure that my clients are prioritizing their exercise and getting in as much exercise as they can through the week on a very regular basis again. So that would be my kind of summation of how I would be looking at working with clients to see what's going on and why their weight has come back on and why it won't budge.
Yeah, and thank you so much for those points. So, to me, hearing you talk through those points is really around consistency.
Yes.
Yeah, whether that's a consistency during the day in terms of the water intake, the structured meals, the exercise, etc., as well as balance. So, I mean, you've probably seen this 100 times before. Where, and I have been there myself in the past with this, is
Yeah.
that knee jerk reaction of wanting the minute you feel like you've started to gain weight or, it's not budging. There can be a part of us that wants to go and do something drastic to try to get back in control, right? So whether that might be some drastic restriction, reset diet, etc. Did you want to just maybe address that as well?
Sure. I mean, so many people that I speak to want to do what they call a pouch reset or try a keto diet or eliminate all carbohydrates or exercise to the point where they can't really sustain it. So, yeah, working with people to make these, like you say, consistent changes. And that's where I find the diary so helpful because you can start to look at times through the day, what behaviors are happening at certain times of the day. And also, when I see a diary and I can see it from 7 days of the week, like a bird's eye view, it's really easy to start to see patterns and where these problematic behaviors are coming in.
Yeah, and I'm all about patterns, which I'll share shortly. Could you maybe give us an example? Because I'm quite intrigued to hear more about that. So, what are some of the typical patterns that you might observe with your clients, and then what recommendations might you provide to them?
Okay, so one of the main patterns that I see is people don't eat breakfast. So they might just have a coffee, which, if they're having a milky coffee, that's a good thing because they're getting some protein from it in the morning. But they're really missing out on a chance to get a good source of fiber into their diet. So that leaves them feeling hungry for the rest of the morning. And then, say they're at work and morning tea is being served, or people have have bought in a lot of morning tea snacks, say a staff room at a school. They seem to be a real trouble spot. And so you haven't had really enough protein for breakfast. You're hungry because you haven't felt full from having any fiber in your diet. And there's sausage rolls and mini pies and lots of chocolate available for morning tea. And of course, you're going to eat it because you might not have bought any morning tea snacks with you to work either. So all of a sudden, you're on that slippery slope of eating foods that you weren't planning on eating them because you weren't well prepared with your breakfast and you haven't had bought a snack to work either.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and I think as I've mentioned as well, is looking at the patterns, it's looking at the triggers, and having some structure in place, not being too much in control, because that's very much the old way. But also, yeah, just having that sort of the basic plan and structure in place of the week.
Yes, I just think I can't emphasize enough that planning and preparation of meals and food and making sure you go shopping on a regular basis and have an idea in your mind or a plan, a loose plan as to how you're going to eat for each day, your meals and snacks for the whole week.
Yeah. And what I love about your Instagram profile is that you are very helpful in terms of what to look for in the supermarket, which is always great, coming up with new ideas and inspiration.
Yeah, well, I listen to my clients during clinic, and I'm always writing ideas down of what I'm seeing people are struggling with. So, like, one example was one day, everybody was talking to me about only ever buying packaged snacks. So, one of my posts I did was homemade protein rich snacks. So, it was like meatballs, mini quiches, frittatas, um, taking along foods in your day that you can, like, fritters as well, like zucchini fritters, boiled eggs. So, just making sure you've got protein rich, nutritious foods on hand that can go into your snack portions for the day. And I'm also just working on at the moment coming up with some meal plans for my clients again, so that they will get a structured approach: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and what snacks to have. The meal plan will come with a shopping list and it will also come with all the recipes that they need for that 7 day meal plan through the week, because that's what I find my clients really need and they really latch on to if I can provide that information.
Yeah, so having that structure that
Yes.
structure and plan in place.
Yes. Yet again, that structure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe I'll cover off my take on this particular question. And this is what I'm most interested in. If you're a client of mine, where I'd want to be finding out some more information. So, a bit like what Margaret said, I too am very interested in understanding patterns because any quote unquote bad habits, any emotional eating, we want to really understand what the pattern is. It's not just a one off event when you've been struggling with your eating and weight for many years. So I would be wanting to really, first of all, understand and get a picture of what was your pre surgery weight, what was then your lowest weight that you got to after surgery, and when did you reach that? What's your current weight now, and what's your goal weight? So for me, I'd just start to, that's what the information that I ascertain to get a little bit of a picture around how quickly did you lose the weight after surgery, how much weight did you lose, and when did this, I'm most interested in, when did you start to plateau or regain weight, and what sort of time frame was going on? And then I'd be probing to find out a little bit more about what was happening in your life around the time that you either plateaued or regained this weight. And there can be many reasons around weight regain, and obviously, as a psychologist, I'm going to provide you with my perspective, which is all about me staying in my own lane here. So often there can be an external trigger. So what I've found with many clients that I've worked with is that maybe at the time when you experienced a plateau or regain, that maybe there could have been a change in routine. So it could have been, moving house, kids change schools, you've changed work, you changed your personal trainer, whatever that might be for you. And that change has actually thrown you out of your routine. It could also be a change in any sort of structure that also fits in with what was going on in your life at that time. It could also be maybe there was some extra stress in your life when you experienced that plateau or regain. So I've worked with many clients where there was stress in relationships. Perhaps a parent was sick or passed away, or there was some other event, significant event that happened that obviously, had a big impact on you personally. And of course, that then impacted your eating and your weight from, a coping perspective. So, alternatively, there also could be a subconscious sabotage block that could be playing out here. So, remember that no one consciously sabotages their success. And that's what I call those old pre surgery ways that got you to a point of considering weight loss surgery. So, these are these blocks that perhaps might be rearing their ugly head after that honeymoon period has worn off, or perhaps when a trigger has come into play, that these old version 1.0 pre-surgery ways have started to sneak back in. So I'll just give you some examples of how I see this play out with my clients and NBT participants. And I'll just give you 3 examples here that I'm going to unpack for you, and you can see and get a sense of what might resonate with you as well. So, the first one, and probably the most common sabotage block, is the all or nothing thinking. And this is where we are either in control or we are out of control. Like, it's very black and white, and there's no gray. There's nothing in between. And so during the honeymoon period after surgery, you probably felt like you had some natural control. But then when that natural control wears off after the honeymoon period, what can happen with this all or nothing thinking sabotage block is that you can swing to the other side of then being out of control. And of course, as I said, it's that all or nothing. It's black and white, and there's nothing in between. So it's like you're just really working with these 2 gears. And it's that old, version 1 pre-surgery way. It's back in the day, it might have been you were dieting or you're binging. So it's the mindset of it that still can be there that didn't get upgraded after surgery. And this is where what I found is that when we have this all or nothing thinking, we just don't know how to be in the middle. We don't know what the grey looks like, and we don't really know how to trust ourselves. The second sabotage block that I see play out is what I call using your excess weight as protection. And this is all about keeping you safe in a bigger body. And the trigger here could have been that you lost a significant amount of weight after surgery. And at a subconscious level, so remember this is subconscious, not conscious, your subconscious mind felt that this was really unsafe. So perhaps at another point in time, something bad might have happened to you in the past in a smaller body. And that extra weight has served a good purpose to keep you safe and to protect you. And the thing about your subconscious mind is that there's no date or time stamping here. So, what I mean by that is that if something happened in the past, even if it was 30 years or 40 years ago, your subconscious mind believes that it was yesterday and that you are still in danger today. So, therefore, from a subconscious perspective, your weight is needed to protect you now, even though, at 40 years old, for instance, you're actually safe now. So it's like your subconscious mind is just doing its job by starting to regain that lost weight to keep you safe again. And then, thirdly, another sabotage block that I see playing out is what I call eating to rebel. So that the rebellion eating, which is really a fascinating block for me. Many weight loss surgery patients, they can rebel against family members. So you might think about how this might have played out for you or if this resonates, but perhaps it was mum, or maybe it was dad, maybe it was granny, or it could be a rebellion against a previous partner. And the theme is still the same. So there was someone or even a group of people that gave you messages at some point in your life that you should have been thin and pretty. And the message was that you're not good enough as you are now with the excess weight. You need to lose weight in order to be loved and accepted. And how this can play out is that you can say, stuff you subconsciously, again, it's all subconscious, by doing the exact opposite of what they wanted you to be. So, what I mean by that is that if they wanted you to be thin and pretty, because that's quote unquote what women should be or young girls should be, then it's like you're eating to rebel against those messages. And it's like, I'll show you. And so this can look like regaining that lost weight. But then what happens is the only person that you end up punishing is yourself. So, just to wrap up this section from me, I always love to, I'm all about just digging a bit deeper with these potential sabotage blocks. And I have just a couple of questions that you can reflect on, that you can ask yourself to see what might be playing out for you at that deeper level. So, the first question is, when did I start to regain the weight? So, when was that? The next question is, what was going on in my life at that time? And then the third question is, what was the feeling? How was I feeling at that time? So I want you to sort of go to that deeper level of really, getting a sense of the feelings. Like, were you feeling stressed at that time? Were you feeling overwhelmed? Like maybe you started a new job, you had a change in routine, a change in structure, plus you had all these stressful, kind of big, overwhelming feelings of maybe pressure to perform. Or maybe you could have been feeling really good with the lost weight and feeling confident, but maybe there was the weight as protection kicked in because it was deemed to be unsafe. So I want you just to spend a little bit of time just unpacking what was going on at that time to gain some new insights there. So, if you do want more and to understand more about some of these subconscious blocks, we actually go through this in my challenge. And I also have a sabotage quiz where you can actually identify your key blocks. And then I have a full comprehensive training where I unpack them all. So, I've basically identified 12 main blocks over the years of working with weight loss surgery patients. And I've just kind of touched on some of the three that I thought could be relevant in response to this question. So you can always check out the challenge. It's just challenge.georgiebeams.com if you do want to learn more there. So that's it from me. Anything that you wanted to comment on Margaret there?
Oh, look, Georgie, I just love the way that you go through all this information and put it back together, really. And as a dietitian, I'm always thinking there's so much more I could help my clients with. But as you said, staying in your own lane, I'm really into talking about food a lot. But I have to admit that I do ask a lot of these similar questions to what you're asking, because I just don't see how we can talk about food without understanding so many of these behaviours that are going on. So I just think it's great the way you've just put all that together, and I think it's really helpful for so many clients out there.
Well, it's all just, for me, it's about getting to the cause, like the root cause of why, rather than focusing so much on the what. And I think
Yes.
that just gives you more insight and learnings and understanding, as you say.
Yes, I think it's great. Well done.
Thank you. So, let us know, where can you remind us where we can find you?
Sure. My Instagram page is where I do most of my work these days. So it's Bariatric Dietitian Margaret. And you can contact me through there if you want to work with me. And I also have a program that I've designed for weight regain after bariatric surgery. And again, it's all marketed through Instagram. So if you look out on Instagram, I'm relaunching my program again on the 22nd of February, actually. So just a couple of weeks away. So if people want to work with me, I'm more than happy for you to look on my Instagram, bariatricdietitian.margaret, and get in touch with me and sign up to work with me.
Awesome. And definitely check out Margaret's Instagram reels, where she goes to the supermarket, and they're a lot of fun, and they'll give you some inspiration maybe to try out a few different things. If you loved the content in this podcast, you have to come and check out my book. It's called Weight Loss Surgery Secrets: Why You Haven't Been Able to Get to or Stay at Your Goal Weight After Surgery. I delve into these deeper, juicy sabotage topics in the book. So come and check it out at book.georgiebeams.com.